Denver 7 News at 5 starts right now.
Former students have waited and waited.
I feel like I won the lottery.
Today, the president finally made the announcement.
I'm honoring that commitment today. We will forgive $10,000 in outstanding federal student loans.
Some student loan debt will be canceled for millions of Americans.
People can finally crawl out from under that mountain of debt.
Tonight, we're going in depth on the president's plan and what this means for borrowers here in Colorado.
I am grateful for $10,000 because it's $10,000 I didn't have.
Plus, one GOP group now looking to recall a Colorado politician who recently decided to switch parties.
And another big sign of progress and moving forward after the Marshall fire. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. 45 million people in the U.S. owe more than $1.6 trillion in federal loans taken out for college. That is more than they owe on car loans, credit cards, or any consumer debt other than mortgages.
And President Biden is looking to ease the financial burden of student loan debt. And today, the president unveiled his long-awaited student loan relief plan.
And tonight, we are going in depth on the president's plan, who this applies to, and how it's going to be rolled out.
First, here's what's in it. $10,000 in debt will be canceled from student loans. This is for individuals making less than $125,000 a year. $20,000 will be canceled for those who have Pell Grants, which primarily go to those who are lower income. The $125,000 a year income bracket also applies to those Pell Grants. Current students are also eligible for the debt relief, and if they're dependents, they'll be assessed based on their parents' income.
Also, the pause on all student loan repayments has been extended through the end of this year. The president says, though, this likely will be the final pause on payments. Now, Biden is also putting a cap on monthly repayments. Undergrad loan repayments will now be capped at 5% of a person's income. That's down from 10%. And tonight we have team coverage on the president's student loan forgiveness plan and how it's going to impact people here in Colorado.
And we begin with Denver 7's Jason Grenauer, who's going in depth on the president's announcement.
Yes, good evening, guys. The president said this was about giving people a fair shot and helping middle and working class families. So let's lay out once again who this impacts to start. The president's plan, again, would forgive $10,000 of federal student loans for all borrowers making under that $125,000 per year. $20,000 of debt will be forgiven for those who received those Pell Grants. Student loan repayment will remain on pause until the beginning of 2023, and when it resumes, those on those income-based repayment plans will have payments capped at 5% of their income. Previously, it was 10%. Here's what the president had to say about impact.
All this means people can finally crawl out from under that mountain of debt, to get on top of their rent and their utilities, to finally think about buying a home or starting a family or starting a business. And by the way, when this happens, the whole economy is better off.
Now, as for criticism of this plan, the president pointed to other tax breaks that benefited the wealthy and those PPP loans that were forgiven. This version of loan forgiveness, Biden said, targets those who simply need it the most.
It focuses the benefit on middle class and working families. It helps both current and future borrowers, and will fix a badly broken system.
Now, there was a notable exchange that the president walked away from the podium, a reporter asking if it was fair to those who paid their student loans or didn't take any out. The president responding, is it fair to watch multi-billion-dollar businesses get tax breaks? Is that fair? The president then exited the room. Ann?
Interesting. All right, Jason, thank you for that. And with today's announcement, President Biden is finally following through on his campaign promise to erase student loan debt, or at least some of it. In this tweet from March of 2020, then candidate Biden said we should at least cancel $10,000 of student loan debt per borrower. And student loan forgiveness is popular, especially among younger people. A recent Politico poll found that 64% of Americans believe there should be some student loan forgiveness. 13% said low-income Americans should get total student loan forgiveness. 19% supported full student debt cancellations for all Americans.
And according to the Education Data Initiative, there are about 774,000 student loan borrowers here in Colorado. Each owes on average $37,000. And Colorado ranks 8th for the states with the least amount of student debt. That debt, though, still exists for thousands of former students here in Colorado. And Denver 7's Patrick Perez is live in the newsroom. Patrick, for one single mom you spoke with, today's reason to celebrate.
Yeah, it was, Shannon, and that's because she no longer has to pay back anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 in loans. And while she is thankful for it, as are a lot of Americans, she believes the work, it's just beginning. As a single mother of 4, life hasn't been cheap for Maisha Fields.
Raising children by myself, putting them through college themselves, making sure that they have all the things that they need, the extracurricular activities that they're involved in, paying a mortgage, paying a car note, and then also paying, federal loans.
Her student loans at one point totaled about $70,000. While some of that has been paid off and forgiven through her job as a healthcare worker, she still has about $42,000 left.
It's hard to make ends meet sometimes.
Hey, folks.
On Wednesday, things got a little easier for her and millions of other Americans.
I would have loved if the administration said we're making it, completely debt clear and free. But I am grateful for $10,000 because it's $10,000 I didn't have.
Here's how this is going to work. Nearly 8 million borrowers may not have to do anything if the U.S. Department of Education has their income data on file. It would if you've ever asked for a repayment plan based on income, for example. If you don't think this applies to you, the department will open a simple online form in the coming weeks where you can provide that information. All of this applies only to people making below $125,000 or families making below $250K. For Maisha, this helps paint a path forward to becoming debt-free, but she acknowledges the work is just beginning.
Justice looks like an education system where everyone has access and doesn't leave an educational system with $50,000, $100,000, or $300,000 worth of debt and no job to go to.
And she's hoping our next generation,
I'm still so small,
will continue to hold our elected officials accountable to make higher education more accessible.
The world is new.
Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
And right now on our Denver 7 website, we have 360 in-depth coverage on student loan forgiveness. You can also weigh in on what you think should be done about our country's student loan issues. You can find all of that on thedenverchannel.com and the free Denver 7 Plus app. It is available to download right now on your streaming device.
New at 5, a group of Republicans has initiated a recall effort for Colorado State Senator Kevin Priola. 2 days ago, Senator Priola announced he was leaving the Republican Party to become a Democrat. He cited denialism over climate change and the 2020 election returns as the two main reasons. Now, we've reached out to the Secretary of State's office to find out just how many signatures will be needed to force a special election for this recall.
This morning in North Glen, a body was found in a water reservoir. Employees of the North Glen Water Treatment Facility discovered the body, and North Glen says the city's water is still safe for people to drink. An investigation is now underway about how the body ended up at the plant and who that person is. The man accused of killing a 13-year-old boy in a drive-by shooting this weekend in Longmont has been charged with 13 counts. 19-year-old Yair Solis is facing first-degree murder, along with 6 counts of attempted first-degree murder. 13-year-old Zay Rosales was walking with his cousin and another teen when they were shot while at Kensington Park. According to the arrest affidavit, police believe the shooting is possibly connected to a gang fight in Boulder.
Police in Boulder are looking for additional witnesses or potential victims of a man who went on an assault spree last night. Police were first called out to 30th and Aurora Street when witnesses reported 18-year-old Perry Gilreath choked someone who walked past him. That person was able to get away. And when officers arrived, they say he fought them off, lunged at an officer's weapon. They also say Gilreath repeatedly punched an officer in the face, giving that officer a concussion. He eventually was taken into custody and tonight is facing multiple charges and being held on a $100,000 cash bond.
It has been 8 months since the Marshall Fire, and as of today, Boulder County, Louisville, and Superior have all finally completed debris and ash removal. And now residents in all of those areas can rebuild their homes or put the lots on the market if they so choose. Also, some good news for people in Superior. The Target store is opening a week from today.
He did everything for his family. My best friend for 52 years.
Making sure the memory of a beloved husband and father lives on.
A Denver bicyclist who was killed by a driver who ran a red light gets a special dedication in his honor.
I'm not naive enough to think that my own brother's death is going to change everything, but I hope that it's a starting point.
The vast majority, if not all of these deaths, are preventable.
Scattered thunderstorms will mostly miss the urban corridor tonight. Coming up, I'll let you know our next best chance for rain.
And from Wisconsin with love.
We're bringing Culver's to the downtown Denver.
Free cheese curds and ice cream up for grabs this afternoon in downtown Denver.
We're trying to teach people who we are and what we serve and have fun doing it.